Good morning, friends. Good to be with you here on Sunday morning. Thought I would pop in and share my daily draw today and also maybe do an energy reading for the week to come. So about 2 years ago now, I started doing these daily draws, and basically it is one card every morning. And I did it initially just to learn the deck and just for fun. And I think I've mentioned before that this was really the practice that ultimately drew me to a bunch of other practices and changed my life very much for the better. So thought I'd just kind of show you how that goes. And again, I'm using the Smith Weight deck here. Hope everybody is doing well here on Sunday morning. Move my keyboard out of the way so that I can kind of get up on the table a little bit here. So usually when I do my morning card draws, I've already spent my time in meditation for the morning. I've usually done my morning scripture readings and prayers. I use the Catholic, it's called the Divine Office. Sometimes it's called the Office of Readings. So I use that morning, and then evening prayers are Vespers from the Divine Office as well. I'll maybe link out to some stuff like that eventually here, but so I do that in the mornings, and then I also use a resource from Unity called Daily Word, and it's just a short, brief little meditation. I'll usually read that and spend a little time with my gratitude journal first thing in the morning, and then try and get my daily card draw done before David Oss begins with Kirtan from Brooklyn at 9 a.m. New York time. But today I was up a little bit late. I slept until after 7 o'clock here Central Time, and so I didn't get my daily draw done until now, and so I thought I would share it with you. And usually there's no specific intention. Sometimes I'll set an intention for these, but most of the time it's just see what comes up, see what the cards have to suggest to me today. Okay, Page of Swords. So I think of this card as the Intrepid Sleuth. I think of it as, this is actually the card that would be my favorite signifier card for my daughter, who is 16 and exceptionally bright and curious and interested in a lot of different things. And so this card, to me, just really captures her. It's someone with the enthusiasm of youth and curiosity and ready to go out exploring. And so I think when this card turns up, it is a cue to me personally to be more attentive to her, to maybe spend a little more time with her than I might otherwise do, and to show interest in her interests, in her creative pursuits especially, which she's got quite a few of those, it seems like. So, Page of Swords. And sorry if that made a rattling noise. I moved the microphone here, and it may have made a little pop or something like that. Sorry about that. Anyway, so for me, that's sort of what this card brings up when I see it. It could also just be a prompt to use your curiosity, to not be afraid to explore, to maybe break the routine a little bit and look for some adventure. Of course, pages are the cards of beginners, and enthusiasm and kind of beginner's mind, and then swords, the suit of the mind and all things mental. Uh, so, this could kind of be beginner's mind, curiosity, exploration, that sort of thing. So that would be my daily draw. And then normally I'll get a picture of that and post it to Instagram each day, and then post it out to Flickr, and then I'll go to the website, the Cards of Light website, and do, usually it's a quick blog post these days because I've got information on most of the cards there, but I'll try and post a little bit about what the card means to me at the moment. And if there's anything particular going on in my life that it relates to, then I'll sometimes post about that as well. I've lost my train of thought. I've had not enough coffee, I guess, this morning. Let's do a 4-card energy draw here for the week to come. And we'll look at the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of our lives, and just look at where we might want to think about putting our energy in those 4 areas of our lives for the week to come. Again, shuffle a little bit. I shuffled these thoroughly before coming live, but we'll shuffle them a little bit again and cut the cards. Okay. Physical realm, the Emperor, Knight of Swords in the emotional realm, the Star in the mental realm, 6 of Swords in spiritual. Okay. So the Emperor is the card of stability, security, leadership, organization, law, rules, structure is the way I think of that card in any case. So when that turns up in the physical or material realm, I think that may be a prompt to pay attention to our physical well-being, or maybe our financial well-being, in a more structured way, to get organized. It might have to do with organizing the physical environment too. Maybe cleaning out some cupboards, or doing some repairs around the house or something along those lines. So I would say be attentive to opportunities for that in the coming week. And this time of year, we're a couple months into 2021. We tend to, a lot of us anyway, will start the first of the year with some sort of exercise program or something like that, and about this time of year is when things start to maybe lag a little bit. And so maybe that's a cue, to kind of get organized with our physical health. Maybe, plan out some specific daily exercise goals. At least get out and take walks. I know with the weather that we have had here in Illinois in the U.S., we've had lots of snow and it's been terribly cold. We have a hard time even getting out to take walks with our little dogs and stuff. So might be good this week to kind of, begin that sort of practice again. Okay, Knight of Swords here in the emotional realm. Uh, Knights are the cards of action, and swords, uh, as we said earlier, are about the mind. And so this card, to me, I mean, he's rushing on forward here, charging along with his horse, sword in the air, ready for battle. So this could be bravery or boldness. It could be um, taking some sort of action, but thoughtful action. And if we're in the emotional realm here, that usually either has to do with how we're feeling or with relationships with other people. And so I would say thoughtful, bold action would be the catchword for this week, or the watchword for this week with this card coming up, the Knight of Swords. Particularly in relation to others. Don't be afraid to charge on forward, but do it in a way that you've given some thought to it first. But once you know what you ought to be doing or what you want to do, then don't hesitate. Just move right on forward. It's the way I would interpret that one. By the way, as always, I'd love to hear what other people think about this spread and the cards in it. We got a lot of swords popping up this morning, so lots of focus on the mind. And in the mental realm, we have the Star. This card has, it's another one of the major arcana. So the Emperor down here and the Star are both trump cards or major cards. The swords that are popping up are what they call the minor arcana. So these carry a little bit more weight, a little more permanence when they show up in a meaning, in a reading. They tend to be about fundamental issues and longer term issues, whereas the minors tend to maybe sort of be things that are coming and going. But the Star, to me, first of all, represents guidance, and particularly the guidance of intuition. Going deep within our own minds and finding the innate guidance that is there, that star within us. Think about the North Star as a way to navigate. So I think of this card that way, and also the character depicted on this card is stark naked out in nature. And so that also, to me, signifies vulnerability and confidence. There's this character has no fear. They know who they are. They know what they're doing. They're following that guidance. And so they're able to be very integrated, be completely themselves, and to stand naked before the world and not be concerned about that, not be fearful or ashamed or any of that kind of stuff. So part of it is that this guidance here can bring us to that sort of life where we can just be unabashedly ourselves, but also that vulnerability and that openness is part of what leads us to the intuitive guidance to begin with. So those two things are very much related. So in the realm of the mind here, this to me would be a cue to educate my conscience, to go deep within my own mind and my own thoughts, maybe in meditation sessions and that sort of thing, and then to follow the guidance that I receive as a result of that. A lot of times we're not lacking for guidance, we just don't follow it. It seems maybe not practical, or for some other reason we reject what we know we really ought to be doing. So I think this card in that position is a cue this week to try to get in touch with that part of us that is sure and knows what is going on, and to follow that guidance. Okay, in the spiritual dimension, we've got the Six of Swords. And this card has been popping up a lot in readings lately. I think of it as the card of departures. So we've got these characters in the boat. We've got the ferryman here. We've got the swords, the six swords, stuck in the bottom of the boat. In a reading for a friend the other day, we were talking about that, and I said, it's a wonder that the boat doesn't spring a leak. And she says, well, those swords are stopping the leak. And so maybe it's the wounds in our lives that, also help us to heal when we focus on them, is one way to look at that. These characters they've turned their backs to where they're leaving. You can see we've got kind of choppy waters here on one side of the boat and calmer waters over here, and they're headed to who knows where, but it looks like a pleasant shore ahead. So brighter things to come, but we have to, in order to get there, to first of all trust the ferryman, trust the navigator, but also to turn our backs on some things, to be able to say, okay, we're leaving this behind and we will never go back to it. Sometimes that is the cost of spiritual progress. So in the spiritual dimension of our lives, I would say this card is an opportunity to be hopeful for brighter things to come, but also to be aware of things that may be holding us back, that we need to just once and for all finally turn our backs on. So that would be the way I would interpret that one. So another interesting spread here on a Sunday morning. In talking about these kind of smaller energy reading spreads, these 3 and 4 card spreads, as I'd mentioned before, you could use whatever you wanted for the position designations. It wouldn't have to be physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. You could put all sorts of questions into those areas, or all sorts of dimensions or concepts or ideas into those positions on the spread. They're really endless. And if you go out and search for unique tarot card spreads, you'll find a whole bunch that people have created and thought up. So, but I like to use these when I'm not addressing a specific question a lot of times, and just find some interesting little dimensions to look at, and then put the cards in and see what comes up.